Hi, I'm Felicity Passon, and you're tuned into one-on-one interviews with Kana. So I'm halfway through my psychology degree. I'm currently taking a year off though, just to kind of focus on my swimming and training here in South Africa. With Rockville Mary.
So you're not studying?
No, I'm taking the year off, and then I'm gonna resume studying next year. Not necessarily. I kind of always wanted to take a gap year. I originally wanted to do it before I started university, but then I ended up starting school, which was fine for me. This year just kind of made more sense because it's the Olympic year, so to kind of focus more on the swimming and kind of focus on qualifying for the Olympics. So I kind of just didn't want the additional pressure of studying. So yeah, that's why I decided to do it. It was quite tough though to kind of manage the both, especially psychology. It is quite a heavy degree. It's a lot of reading and you have to put in a lot of hours to it. But I managed. Like, all swimmers kind of learn how to balance their studies and their swimming, so it was okay. No, so I actually did 2 years in America at Southern Methodist University, SMU, in Dallas, Texas, and so that I was on a swimming scholarship there.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, I'm definitely pushing for next year, 2020 Tokyo. It's kind of always been my goal, but definitely my peak will be 2024 in Paris. So that's kind of the long-term goal. So normally I'd probably feel really nervous and a lot of pressure, and I do, but I'm kind of actually more excited. I'm 0.2 off the qualifying time in the 200 backstroke, so it's definitely something I know is achievable. I know I can do it. So for me, it's really more excitement than anything else. Right now it is kind of my main stroke. It's the stroke I definitely focus more on training, but I also swim butterfly and freestyle equally well. So I don't know. Right now I'm kind of fighting all of them. I like freestyle because I feel a lot less pressure. I don't race it that often and I don't train it, so when I do get to swim it, it's kind of more fun for me. But I do really like swimming backstroke, so yeah, I'd say backstroke. I don't necessarily have anyone in specific who I look up to. I would say probably Simone Manuel. She's like currently the world champion in the 50 and 100 free, which aren't my events, but just to see like her journey and where she's come from, and she's like the first black woman to win a gold medal in swimming at the Olympics, and it's just, her story is just really, it's impressive. I think it's very inspiring, and yeah, I really look up to her. Both my parents were very insistent on making sure that me and my sister were, okay with water. Water safety is really important to them. So my mom always encouraged me from a really young age to, be in the pool, be around water, and as soon as she put me in, it was kind of like she couldn't get me out. So it was kind of just a thing from a very young age. But I only started swimming competitively when I was 13. That's when I really started to take it seriously. Unfortunately in Seychelles we didn't have that many opportunities, and there is really only, at the time there was only one swimming pool, so I was always, if I was swimming, it would be in like a hotel pool or something like that. So I was grateful when I did actually start really getting into it and a coach actually took interest in me, but other than that we don't have that many opportunities. No, it's definitely my passion. I've been in the pool or the sea for as long as I can remember, and my parents having to fight to get me out. So it's definitely something I love for sure. But it's also something I guess I realized I was actually good at compared to the other sports that I did. So that's kind of why I stuck with it, yeah. I played tennis. I actually did tennis and swimming for a while until I had to choose one and focus on one. So I'd say probably tennis. maybe running. I can't really run anymore, but when I was younger, I was actually good at it. But other than that, it's so hard to imagine my life without swimming. I've done it for as long as I can remember. Now when we get like a week off, it's like, what do I do with myself? It's nice for the first few days, but after that, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's so weird. I think it's definitely a lot better now than it was in the past. I would say even just a couple of years ago. Now just actually looking on the Kana website, seeing how there are now swim clinics being done around countries in Africa, which I think is really cool, but I definitely think more needs to be done. Especially in the smaller countries or the less developed ones compared to South Africa. I know swimming is pretty big here, but even in Seychelles, now it's starting to grow a little, but I still think that parents should be encouraged to, put their kids in the swimming pool at a young age. It is really important. Water safety is important, and especially if you're in a landlocked country, it's not that big of a deal, I guess, but it's still important. But yeah. Definitely by getting the big names in Africa together to try and maybe I don't know, if it was possible, tour around maybe Africa and kind of encourage swimmers, because maybe when parents hear about it, it's one thing to encourage your children to do it or kind of put them there, but once I think the younger ones see the bigger stars, it does it's kind of a different encouragement, then they actually want to do it, and I think that's important, that they have to kind of want to do it, whether they're talented or not. It is really important. Yeah, we all know how to swim, but no one's really a big swimmer, or I think it's more for leisure, and since we're surrounded by sea, it's kind of you don't have a choice. So, yeah. So far, I'd say I'm currently the African champion in the 200 backstroke and the 100 backstroke, which actually happened this year in Morocco in August. Definitely my most exciting competition so far. Also, we recently had the Indian Ocean Island Games, which is really big for us small islands in the Indian Ocean. And I managed to get 7 gold medals there, which was really fun for me. So I would definitely say, yeah, Morocco being African champion. Definitely my family. They've been there for me through thick and thin. They've sacrificed so much for me throughout my career, in terms of financially, schooling, swimming, emotional support, all the support you can honestly imagine. I really do have them to thank throughout. Yeah, it's tough. Every swimmer knows, you do give up a huge amount of your social life is gone. But in a way, swimming kind of makes up for it, because you make so many of your friends, your long-term friends, from swimming, and you get to travel places and meet other people from other cultures. So in a sense, yeah, you're giving up your social life for maybe your normal school friends, but then it really does make up for it in some sense. But also just kind of being tired all the time, and we swim 2 hours a day, every day, minus Sundays, and we get Saturday afternoons off, which is nice, but it does take up a lot of our time. We don't have time for much else. Hobbies becomes kind of it becomes rare. When we get to do it, it is actually special. But other than that, I'm pretty grateful for swimming, so I can't complain too much. Kind of just, so being part of a big team is actually so helpful, because you're not the only one going through it. You have other people to lean on or kind of rant to, and just you can bond over the experience you're going through. But before competitions, I don't normally do anything to psych myself up. I actually get really nervous, and I actually sometimes struggle to deal with my nerves, but so I kind of just get really chatty, I talk to a lot of people, kind of distract my mind from kind of what's going on around me or what's about to happen, but at the same time kind of remain focused on the goal. Yeah. We are really competitive, but I think I would say swimmers are actually one of the best sports men out there. We're very, friendly with each other. We respect each other in the pool. Hardly have I ever seen an incident where someone, makes it obvious that, there's not good sportsmanship there. But so, yeah, we are competitive when we're racing, but I think from that comes really good friendship. So, yeah, I think it's really good. Oh, definitely. I've been to high school in a few places thanks to swimming. I started high school in Seychelles. I did a year there. Then I traveled to Thailand for a year and I swam and did school there. So I met a lot of swimmers there and a lot of other people. Then I finished high school in the UK before going to America for university. So swimming it's a huge family just globally, around the world. And it's just really cool that I don't know, it's so nice to see friendly faces when you go to international competitions, you see people you know or you've heard of. So yeah, definitely a family outside of your own family. Definitely the emotional and psychological side of swimming. Swimming is quite an intense sport, mentally and physically, so trying to kind of deal with that is always tough, and sometimes it gets a lot tougher than other times. Just sometimes if you're going through a dip or a low or even a plateau in swimming, it's kind of hard to deal with that, but that's why it's so nice being part of a big team or having your family there to support you, kind of get you through those dark times. But yeah, like I said, swimming is a really intense sport. Sometimes you really do need that emotional support to kind of just push you through the end of the week or get you through an Olympic cycle is 4 years, kind of getting you through the end. It's always tough, but it's so good to have a huge family around to support you. A lot of people only see, the success side of it. They don't see actually your journey, what you went through, your highs, your lows. So yeah, it is kind of tough to go through it. Sometimes you feel so alone, but like I said, we're so lucky to have such a big community, because in swimming, it is a fact that you're definitely not the only one going through it. There's so many other people.
And you said that you're kind of studying psychology aside from music.
Yeah.
What are your future plans in terms of that?
I definitely plan to stay in the sport once I've decided that, my time's over. I don't think I would go into sports psychology, although I do find it interesting. I would like to contribute to swimming or just sports in general, but I'm actually really interested in addiction and the psychology behind that. So that's kind of my goal, is to go into drug addiction and kind of help people with the disease. So that's kind of what fascinates me. I think it's definitely something at this point that is being taken more seriously, and that it was in the past. It was always kind of taken seriously, it's just now punishments are a lot stricter and more serious than in the past, because I think that FINA and WADA have noticed that a lot of swimmers manage to slip through the cracks and get away with doping, which it's not fair to other swimmers who are working really hard. But I'm definitely obviously very against it, and I'd encourage a clean sporting environment. I would say, honestly, if you do have a love for swimming, definitely stick with it. Through your lows, your highs, you're gonna come out okay, and you kind of just have to know that things will be okay and you will get better. So I would definitely just stick with it. It is really rewarding.